Hi there, welcome back to Rovey Gardens. Now we're in January, which can sometimes be quite quiet, wet and windy, or snowy and icy, which doesn't make it the best conditions for gardening. So in those moments, it's a really good idea to do a little bit of tool maintenance, particularly for the tools that you cut with, those secateurs and clippers, shears. This just is a really good way of maximising the output of your tools and protecting your plants, because often with secateurs and clippers like these, you'll get this residue build up. And that's basically plant sap, bits of mud. It just stains into the metal. And what that can do is, if you don't wash it off, it can transfer diseases and bacterial and fungal problems into plants. So we're really trying to minimise that problem. And the way we do it is by cleaning it and then sharpening the blade, because with blunt blades, particularly after a busy year of pruning, it tends to crush stems as opposed to cut them cleanly. And again, that can let in all sorts of nasties into the plant. So we're really doing this to maximise plant health and to improve our plant husbandry. Now, I've got my secateurs and my clippers here, and the first thing I do is use this, which is a Cremate, which is basically an eraser for metal. And what it will do, it will get rid of all this gunk. Now, I've already started on these secateurs, so the technique I use here is just kind of hold it firm away from the blade, wearing gloves, obviously to avoid cutting myself, and get the blade wet, and then just apply gentle pressure up and down. And what it will do is it will just gently remove all of that gunk. You can see the difference already with just one firm action. And I've already started this, and you can see on this side I've done it. You see the difference. Now I will get into all these little nooks and crannies as well, all along the handle of the blade here. And what it will do, it will just maximise the health of the tool, and for when I use it again, to keep plants that I'm cutting from contaminating with all sorts of nasties. And I've got my secateurs here, again done the same thing. So I've used the eraser just to get any of the gunk away. You can see there's some damage on this blade, but it's still absolutely fine. So once I've done all that, it takes a little bit of time, but it's really worth doing. Once you've got the blade clean, it's time to sharpen. Now, I use this Felco sharpening blade. It's diamond edge, so it's really effective on this sort of steel. These are Japanese steel, and they sharpen really well. And what I'm trying to do is just maximise that cutting edge there. You see that little bevel, sharpening that beveled edge, and that bypasses on the secateur that gap there to cut, to keep that nice and sharp. Obviously it needs regular sharpening, so every January I do this, and I grip the secateurs like so, at a sort of a 20-degree angle in a nice figure of 8 motion. I give the blade a nice thorough sharpen, and I'll do this for about 2 minutes, up and down, remembering to get down right to the bottom of the blade at that angle. Not too firm, I'm sort of applying gentle pressure, just enough to feel resistance and hear that noise of the sharpening. Every now and then just get the blade wet, and I'll sharpen that edge, and that will just keep that edge sharp. And then once I've sharpened this beveled, I'll flip the secateurs round, and with the blade flatly on the back surface, I'll firmly, just 3 or 4 times, flatten off this edge. We don't want this edge to be beveled or proud of the blade, so we just do that a couple of times, and that'll just smooth off that edge, maximising the cutting for the bevel. And like I said, for about 2 minutes I'll be doing that. So I'm just giving you a very quick example of what I'm doing, but I'll be here for probably about half an hour doing this properly. So once I've done the erasing and the sharpening, rinse off all the excess rubbish, a nice bit of tissue or something just to dry it off. I'll do that here now. So once I've dried it off, I can apply a bit of WD-40 on both sides of the blade. And what that does, it just protects the blade from rusting too much, and just provides a nice lubricating layer for the secateurs. So you can sort of roughly see what I do there. very quick example, but you can do this with secateurs, shears. I've got my topiary clippers here, which I'll do it to as well. Obviously, you've got to be careful, so I always wear gloves, and you don't want to be cutting yourself because these tools are really sharp. But it's a really good idea to do it. As I said, it maximises plant health, it prolongs the life of your tools, and it's a good thing. It's a good job to do, particularly when it's windy or wet in the garden, and it's a perfect time to prepare for the year ahead. So, if you have cutting tools, definitely consider doing a little bit of maintenance and maximising the effectiveness of your tools and the health of your plants, of course.